From the diary of my Grandma Fanny, August 2. Today I washed and ironed, and I washed my hair. The men are cutting tobacco. It rained heavy in the afternoon.
Most of us had it happen to us. The feeling that you've been here before when you walk into a place that you know you've never been. Or one day last year I was washing my dishes and I got this overwhelmingly sense of my Grandma Brubaker's ginger snaps. There's no ginger snaps here, but the scent was so strong it almost made me think that my grandma was here. Our minds play tricks on us. Our emotions play tricks on us. But what happens when our sixth sense is more than just memories? They say women have it more than men. We have our five senses. But they say a woman has six. Have you ever walked to an area and thought something seems awful wrong? Have you ever been somewhere and thought things just don't seem right? Things don't add up. Things don't make sense. I've had a lot of that happen in my lifetime. But what happens when it's actual strange occurrences and it's not just in your memory, but it's your senses as well? Our senses, we have 5 of them, and many say we have 6. We have sight, we have smell, we have all of these senses. We have intuitions, you know, the woman's intuition. How about a dog? They say a dog can smell a predator far away, or a dog knows if someone is a good person or a bad one. Have you ever had that happen? Where somebody came to your house and your dog suddenly acted strangely wild? Yeah, that's happened to everyone. But what happened to me this week that brings out all of these senses and even more? Let's sit down because I'm going to share with you a story on this Sunday's Heart to Heart, and it's a very interesting one. I'm sure most of us have stories to tell of memories of loved ones that are no longer with us, and different sights and sounds and different scents bring us back. How about when you were a young teenager and certain smells bring you back to those days? Certain music. Music is a big one. We hear a song that was played back when we were younger and we remember how it felt. But I'm going to give you some food for thought today because I've had some really strange experiences this week. I talk to you all the time about Fanny, my grandma, which is actually my husband's grandma. But because I was married at age 17 and I really was still a child, his grandma became my grandma. Now, my grandma lived a very plain life. She was plain Mennonite. And when my parents left the church, I didn't really have much of a connection with her. But I remember going to her on Sundays, and I remember her home. It was meticulous, and she was clean, but always had a certain scent in her house. Every house has its own smell. Every house has its own memories. If only the walls could speak, all the things that we would know, and maybe some things we don't want to know. So when I became a young married woman, Fanny, here she is as an older woman, became my best friend. I had many years with Fanny, and I took care of her the last 3 months of her life. I lived right beside Fanny, and every day I would run across the farm field to see her. I lived on the family farm. So Fanny was a big part of my life. And when she died many, many years ago, it was hard for me. Even though she lived to a ripe old age of her 90s, it still was a hard life lesson for me. I never had anybody important in my life die. I didn't know what it was like. My mother died 2 days after giving birth to me, so I'd never experienced that part of death. Grandma came back to me this week. Now you may think it's all silly and strange, especially some of the men, but as a woman, I think you can understand that we are more emotionally charged. Unbeknownst to the subscriber of mine from Australia, she sent me this lovely box. This lovely box, I opened it up and immediately something gave me a scent that it reminded me of Grandma. And I thought I was starting to lose it. All of these beautiful pieces of material and a beautiful card. She shared with me an antique and doilies and all kinds of things. Lace. But that's not what was the surprise. Tucked deep away in this box, I took my fingers and rooted around because she had homemade soap in there and some socks for me for the winter. I told her in an email that I cannot believe what happened. You may think it sounds dramatic, but it isn't to me. I pulled this out of the box. It's a shawl. Now, Fanny would never wore anything like this. It's fancy. It's pretty. Grandma was a practical woman. She didn't wear fancy, beautiful things like this. So why does this instoke such a memory in me? As I sit here right now, I'm surrounded by it. It's as if it's a vapor around me. And in that box, she sent this. Beautiful. But what's more is the smell. It smells like Fanny. Some of you would think, oh my word, what did I stumble upon? What is this quack of a lady talking about? The perfume on this is the same perfume that Fanny wore. Fanny didn't wear a lot of perfumes. She didn't wear jewelry. But she was given some perfume, maybe 3 years before she died. And it's the same perfume that Fanny wore. And it's like, I cannot believe it. How can this be? How can a lady the whole way from Australia send me something that reminded me of my grandma? But isn't that how life is? When you least expect it, something pulls at your heartstrings. Something pulls in your memory. Something pulls into you. If you think this was strange, you haven't heard it all yet. Because there's more to this story. Much more. I received another gift. Beginning of the week. Both these gifts were within a 10-day period. And I'm looking down because what I'm looking down is I'm wearing another memory. No, this doesn't have the scent of a long lost loved one. But Fanny had a daughter, Marion. And that is my mother-in-law. That is my husband's mother. These two women came into my life this week. Both of them were extremely important in my life. And both of them have long been gone from this earth. Marion's memory came alive to me in something that I'm wearing. This beautiful patchwork skirt that I'm wearing. You've seen it in the videos. A friend made it and a subscriber bought it for me. These different cloths are beautiful. But one of them, this right here where my knee is. My friends, this was a material design of the bed sheets that my mother-in-law slept in. Now, I have to confer with my friend, but this here is a recycled bed sheet. My mother-in-law had these sheets on her bed. How can this be a coincidence? How can this be? It's things like this that make you scratch your head and think. I always said there's more to life. I've always said that there's so much more that the human eye can't see. There's so much more to us as just mortal beings. We have a soul. We have a spirit. And of course you know my faith. I think it's just a kind and pleasant reminder that while our loved ones are gone from this world, they're not gone from our life. And while our loved ones seem so far away, they're really right here. We just can't see it with these eyes unless we open these eyes and see the memories that are left behind. I wear my skirt with my mother-in-law's memories while I take one more whiff of this scarf before the perfume is gone. While I look at the photos of loved ones long gone from this earth. They're still in our hearts. They're still with us daily. Open your eyes. So what life experiences have you had? We all have had them. We've all had those deja vu moments. I would like to hear in your comments below. I'd like to hear your memories. What some things have you found in your life that you just scratch your head and think, what in the world was that? Thank you, my friends, for giving me these special things, but more so giving me confirmation of memories that have long been gone. Take care, everyone. See you guys tomorrow.